everyone, Lou here. As part of my retrospective on Yu-Gi-Oh, I thought it'd be fun to talk about the Abridged series because it's kind of stupid important to the community of Yu-Gi-Oh. Today, let's take a look at the Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged series. Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series is a comedic parody heavily abridging the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime that released on April 29, 2009, where it quickly became the blueprint for the Abridged series format that began to rise in the early 2010s. It basically walked so other Abridged series like Hellsing Ultimate, Pokemon, and literally every other Abridged series you've seen could run. I mean, not all of them ran, if you've watched some of them from the early 2010s. Hell, even I did an Abridged series of Black Butler, but that was way too fucking cringy, so that's something y'all are gonna have to find on your own. Now, you would think that airing in 2009, Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge would have already ended, but it's actually still ongoing, and the creator, Martin, or as he's commonly known as Little Karibo, is still currently working on the final season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like me! Some would hate the Abridged series for being unfunny, having offensive humor, and ruining the reputation of Yu-Gi-Oh!, while others would praise it for being hilarious and even writing some parts of Yu-Gi-Oh! Better than the original and the English dub. By the way, any criticisms I make is not an attack or an insult towards Little Karibo. I had the honor of meeting him at Anime Expo a few years ago, and he's genuinely one of the sweetest YouTubers I've met, so I really don't mean any harm here. With that disclaimer out of the way, let's take a look at the series.
Gonna get play a tire game.
Okay, so writing-wise, I'm gonna be honest that basically the entirety of the Duelist Kingdom storyline wasn't very funny as I looked back and watched it for this video. And trust me, I don't blame him. If it wasn't for Pegasus, it's the weakest storyline in Yu-Gi-Oh! However, starting in Season 2, that's where I think he really found his comedy and started putting in better jokes, especially with Merrick and Bakura by teasing thief shipping, which I don't blame him and we all know it's pretty much canon anyway. At least to me, y'all know I love dynamics like theirs. Now, some say the writing was like every kind of phobic and ist possible, but call me stupid, but I didn't really notice that in the earliest writing. I say this because Little Karibo wrote in the description for nearly every old video that the writing may be offensive to some and that it doesn't reflect who he is now, but I'm kind of just squinting at where all of this is. I mean, yes, there was Shoddy and Rollins who both have what is considered offensive jokes on certain countries because of the accent, but I don't know, my sense of humor is really wide compared to a lot of people younger than me, so I don't really see a problem with jokes on super comedically thick and campy accents. I mean, don't lie, we all laugh at people who do like laughably thick British accents at least once in our lives. Although Season 3 and onward was hilarious, I have to admit that writing in this subplot that the Big Five was actually the executives at 4Kids trying to shut down the series is a little meh. I say this only because that's what a lot of comedic shows on YouTube were kind of writing already at the time, so it's lost its funny. That and it didn't entirely age well when, from my experience, I was only hit by copyright from 4Kids involving music once for my Season 4 review of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because of the Orichalcos theme. The singing parodies are also not very funny, but I think it's only because it's kind of just wears itself out when someone just sings a whole song in a goofy voice. I think it hits when it's like an important main verse. It could just be that at the time he was trying to copy his fame of his other song parodies like Leather Pants. However, this kind of fades off for good when it comes to the writing of Season 4 and 5, where it's a lot of clever and quick time jokes that don't wear themselves out. I'm not kidding that the most current episode had me rolling with laughter. It's just so amazing, I love it. Overall, while the writing in the beginning for Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge was honestly not funny at all until Season 2, the more it goes on, the funnier it gets, to a point where more recent episodes are gonna have you giggling in your chair the entire time.
Gonna get play a tire game.
Okay, so Little Karibo is British, and like anyone from another country, doing an American accent is a bitch. So for quite a few years into Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge, he wasn't very good at hiding his British accent. With Yugi in particular, he'd often slip to his full British accent, and sometimes Joey even sounded southern, which I don't blame him. I've always heard from British actors that faking an American accent is actually pretty hard. His voice acting also wasn't very good either, and that's maybe what made a lot of the jokes hard to stick the landing, because he sounded so muffled and shy into the microphone, especially when he did Taya and Mai's voice, where it kinda almost sounded like he was whispering. However, as he got a better mic and more confident in his voice acting, it's part of the reason the jokes land so well, and honestly, he mimics some characters disturbingly perfect to their dub counterpart. Like, when I heard Little Karibo as Yami Bokura in particular, he sounded almost identical to the original voice actor to me, which is pretty impressive. There's also some hilariously goofy voices he does. I thought his voice as Alistair was really funny, and I'm gonna be honest that when I was rewatching season 4 for my review, I couldn't help but picture Little Karibo's voice for Alistair in my head. Of course, he's not the only voice actor in Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series, as quite a few of his fellow Abridged series creators and voice actors voice minor to major characters, some of which are a smidge controversial now. Kerbifer, the creator of Tome, and otherwise known as Chris Nioisi, voiced Noah, and for some, it is a bitter taste. For those who don't know, it was revealed in a call-up post online by quite a few people online that he was allegedly an emotionally and physically abusive asshole. When this was first revealed, he tried to cover it up by purposefully breaking his NDA with Nintendo to announce that he was the voice actor for the male protagonist in Fire Emblem Three Houses. Safe to say he was fired from literally everything else he was supposed to be in after this was revealed, including Sailor Moon Eternal's English dub, as he was originally supposed to be the voice for Helios. This makes some jokes with Noah a little yikes for some people who know, but we all have to remember that almost nobody knew his true colors due to abusers hiding who they are very well, and some people he knew only knew him on a strictly business level, so it's just something to be aware of when you're watching if Kerbifer's actions affected you or triggered you in any way, I guess. There are some other controversial people featured as well, like Linkara. I saw a video discussing Channel Awesome's whole shit explosion a while ago, but something about he's kind of an asshole. Again, just take it more as a rumor, because all I know is that when people look back on him, he's apparently controversial. I don't know anything about Linkara, so I'm just taking what I've been told. However, nowadays he hires non-controversial voice actors like Erica Harlacher, Takahata 101, and Kaiji Tang, who are all fantastic. Takahata 101 as Darts in particular had me rolling every time he did that stupid voice because I love it. Overall, while his voice acting does start out a bit stiff and shy, it's awesome to watch as he gains confidence as the series goes on, as well as bring on other voice actors who do some pretty funny work as well.
Gonna play a higher game.
I know this isn't everyone's cup of tea. Humor is extremely subjective, probably more than anything else in the world. So I know that there are some people who are gonna get offended over every joke pointing out how useless Taya is, or think it's offensive to orphans that there's constant jokes about how Kaiba's an orphan or whatever. But I love Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged. I actually hadn't seen the older episodes in quite some time, and I'm gonna be honest, rewatching a large majority of Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged had me in a pretty good mood by giving me a much needed laugh that I've honestly needed for a while, after kind of stressing out over the whole absolute nightmare that was the editing behind the scenes of Season 4. If you guys would like to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge, down below in the description will be Little Karibo's channel, where you can honestly start at any point if you'd like to. And I highly recommend the leather pants video, just to see a sort of internet time capsule for those who weren't around as a teenager when this video first released. That'll be it for this video. Let me know down below what you guys think. I've never done a review for an abridged series before, but it's so integral to Yu-Gi-Oh! That I knew I just had to review it. But I don't think I'll review an abridged series again. I'm not sure which one to do next for Yu-Gi-Oh! Either Season 0 or Capsule Monsters, but I'd recommend subscribing just so you'll know which one I'll do next. How about you guys though? Do you love Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge? Do you hate it? As always, let me know down below. Hey guys, thanks for watching! If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new. If any of you would like to help support my channel in any possible way, my Ko-fi page is down below in the description, along with all of my social media. For any subscribers, new or old, who'd like to help with video ideas, or maybe just want to talk about anime or something, I have a fan server linked down below. See you next time!